It was over, then it wasn't over. Brothers hug, and Daniel Bryan just left in his Prius. This is PWS, Phil's Wrestling Show!
Running the madness inside, searching all of myself, uncover the villain's disguise.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of PWS, Phil's Wrestling Show. As always, I am your host, the one and only PWS Phil, and this week on the show, I will of course be covering the week in wrestling, but also have figure review of Elite 12 Justin Gabriel, and we'll take a very special look at PWS Phil's Wrestling shirts. Let's kick things off with a review of this past Monday's Raw. Monday Night Raw, February 6, 2012. I was definitely looking forward to this week's show so we can find out Triple H's decision about facing The Undertaker. And he certainly threw it out there that he didn't want any part of facing The Undertaker because he feels that if he ends the streak, he would just feel terrible. He doesn't want to be the person to put down Undertaker's streak. But, of course, Undertaker did not care for this too much. But Triple H gave a great promo, boosting, reminding people of who The Undertaker is. I think he really did solid work here. I know a lot of people don't care for his humor. And I gotta agree at this point, sometimes his jokes about Laurinaitis and stuff are pretty hokey. But when he flips it to the serious promo on Undertaker, it's really when he does his best work. Overall, I like Triple H's promo, but what followed that was Undertaker's video response. And what epic, great video. Really, this segment is really WWE at its best as far as non-matches go. I really enjoyed this. I'm pretty sure at this point it's very obvious that Triple H and Undertaker will face at WrestleMania. I really hope Triple H does not end the streak. I mean, I understand it's kind of how WWE does things. Michaels retired Flair, Undertaker retired Michaels, so it's going to kind of continue on in that vein, I would think. But I really don't think Triple H should be the guy. I hope it's not Undertaker's last match, but we'll have to see what happens as things roll on. From there, we had Daniel Bryan and Big Show have a match, and I gotta say they're kind of killing me here with the Daniel Bryan and Big Show matches. They do work pretty good together, but something that tends to happen a lot is when Big Show fights the same opponent multiple times, the matches start to blend together because they all start becoming the same. It's a rough edge. I do like Big Show, but he has a hard time differentiating multiple matches against the same person. We got the little twist here where Big Show actually slowed down before crushing AJ between the steps and himself, which led to a Daniel Bryan promo about the first time you did it was on purpose. So I did appreciate the advancement on that side, but I would like to see those two maybe invent some more spots if they're going to continue wrestling. I'm pretty sure that this Big Show Daniel Bryan feud will be finally said and done at the Chamber. I hope Daniel Bryan retains and goes on to face Sheamus at WrestleMania. Still hoping for that one. Of course, the one and only A-list attorney, David Otunga, was out. And I gotta say, I love stupid David Otunga and his matching outfits. This week was particularly stupid because he had a stainless steel coffee mug. And he had matching stainless steel looking shoes. And it was just looking like a goof. And for those of us who pay attention to such ridiculous things, if you look very closely, David Otunga also perfectly matched John Laurinaitis suit too, with the gold and with the silver and blue. Poor David Otunga got his ass whipped by Sheamus also, and that was a fun little thing. I think Sheamus should at least be given short promos, just to, keep it out there that he's going to WrestleMania and stuff. But other than that, I enjoyed the beatdown, the short match that it was against David Otunga. And right before break, after that, we got a shot of Jericho coming to the ring through the backstage area, and I just love the disgusted looks he was giving the backstage personnel. Just utter disregard for their humanity. It was a short bit, but it was funny just because Jericho's facial expressions are hilarious. After that, of course, Jericho came out to give his promo, and we finally got the full explanation of what all these shenanigans have been about. And basically, he's sick of all the people ripping off his material in WWE, with CM Punk being the number one offender on that list. So, fingers crossed. I think it's pretty obvious we're getting that at WrestleMania, Punk versus Jericho. And I really would like to see Jericho be the champion going into that. So, for anybody keeping score, I'm officially saying right now Chris Jericho is leaving the Elimination Chamber as the WWE champion. Oh yeah, and after Jericho was done running everybody down, CM Punk came out, of course, faced these accusations, but ended up giving Jericho a little bit of his own medicine, and instead of saying anything on the mic, he dropped the mic and just raised the championship, because that's all that really matters. Jericho can say what he likes about Punk, but it doesn't change the fact that Punk is the WWE champion. After the peak of a Jericho promo can bring a show, they decided to flip the script and give us a Great Khali match to follow that up. Now, I think I've stated more than a few times that Great Khali is one of my least favorite wrestlers of all the times. He's just terrible in the ring. I really don't need to see one version of chops into another version of chops into a poorly executed chokeslam. It's just terrible. They ended up sticking him in a tag team with Randy Orton. Even Michael Cole had to chuckle at the idea of Randy Orton and Khali, pretty much like the ends of the spectrum of wrestling. Great Khali, terrible wrestler, terrible promo. Randy Orton, pretty excellent wrestler, miles ahead of Khali, even though Randy Orton may not be the top promo guy, still light years ahead of the Great Khali. And they went up against Wade Barrett and Cody Rhodes, and I really think Cody Rhodes and Wade Barrett got the fucking shaft on this one. He's got so much going on here, with, of course, Barrett and Rhodes being Randy Orton's last two feuds. There'd be a lot to do in this match, but they pretty much got jobbed out, Great Khali and Orton, just so we could get the story of Orton and Khali don't get along. And pretty much the only redeeming factor from this whole thing was that Randy Orton RKO'd Great Khali. And let's hope that Great Khali's involvement in the chamber is not that much and he gets eliminated quickly. It was good to see. They've been building up Tamina in the women's division for a while, and she got a little. Tamina got in the face of Beth Phoenix on this Monday's Raw, so hopefully at Elimination Chamber we get a full-out match between these two. I really like to see what Tamina can do, because pretty much in her whole run, we never seen her in a really, really competitive match. So from what I've seen, I think she's a capable wrestler, but I want to see what she can really do. What can she really do in a full-out match? And I hope Elimination Chamber we get a nice, clean match between those two. Beth Phoenix, of course, been on the roll of squashing people in under 2 minutes. I understand she was off TV for a while, and you need to reestablish her, but let's get back to a real feud here. Let's get some promos between Tamina and Beth going. I really like to see that. I think the writers are letting the Divas division slip a little bit. I'm kind of foreseeing that all this is for Karma versus Beth Phoenix, but still doesn't make 2-minute matches good. I'm sorry. Even if it is the great Beth Phoenix, who I loved as a wrestler. But 2-minute matches are not cutting it. We also got a funny bit backstage where Triple H was on the phone, and of course, we were also wondering if John Laurinaitis was actually fired last week. Apparently, it was up to the board of directors now to put the final word in on whether Ace got fired. And Triple H was on the phone, and of course Johnny Ace showed up behind him. And first of all, he wanted a handshake, which got a big "yeah, right" out of the game. That was pretty good. And Laurinaitis went on to explain that he had also set up a match, Kane versus Cena, at Elimination Chamber in an ambulance match, which should be pretty good. I would have personally preferred just a last man standing match, but I know how these Kane storylines go. They always got to go with something pretty over the top, but I think it will still be a good, brutal match between Cena and Kane in the ambulance match, and maybe that's when Zack Ryder will make his comeback and help Cena out. But also, Laurinaitis announced that HBK will be making an appearance on this Monday's upcoming Raw. And for some reason, he felt compelled to explain to Triple H who Shawn Michaels was. Pretty much Triple H's best friend in real life is Shawn Michaels. And but that didn't stop John Laurinaitis from, all the nicknames, Mr. WrestleMania. And caught my favorite line of the night from Triple H. "I know who he is, moron." And he the way he just delivered it right to Johnny Ace's stupid face was really classic and priceless. So if you want to see that little bit, it was a good delivery from Triple H, who also went on to tell him that he'd kill him if he didn't get the hell out of his office, which was also good. Johnny Ace, as the sole general manager of Raw, is irritating and heelish in his own way, but I see a lot of humor potential if Triple H is allowed to run Raw, but John Laurinaitis has to be his assistant. I see a lot of potential funny bits of Triple H shitting upon John Laurinaitis, so maybe that's something we'll get in the future. In our main event was a 6-way match. All of the participants of the Raw Chamber, Kofi, Punk, Truth, Miz, Ziggler, and Jericho, and the winner would be the last entrant into the Elimination Chamber. During this match, there was a rough spot where Truth did a front flip over the top rope, and Miz tried to catch him, but it was just not the night for these two, because R-Truth ended up hitting the floor pretty hard. Apparently bounced the back of his head off the floor. I thought he fucking broke his tailbone personally, but yeah, it was a rough one. A lot of people shitting upon the Miz, but I say you gotta cut the guy a little slack. I mean, when was the last time we seen anything like this happen? He usually, I think he does fine. Obviously he fucked up. It's not like he completely didn't try to help or catch R-Truth at all. I mean, you can see he tried to catch him, but these things happen. I'm sure he got shit from someone, but don't completely shit upon the guy. These things happen. You know what I mean? People didn't revolt against Owen Hart when he almost broke Steve Austin's neck. You know what I mean? Obviously, accidents like this will happen. It's just making sure they don't happen again. Chris Jericho ends up winning this match after screwing CM Punk over. CM Punk hit the GTS on Dolph Ziggler, and Jericho pulled CM Punk off the pin, and then tossed him over the announce table. And then another favorite part from the show was that he knocked the top piece of the announce table, the little front lip with the WWE logo, pushed it upon Punk, just to ensure that even if Punk was to get up, that now this piece of wooden board was going to keep him there. And then, of course, Jericho ran in the ring, foot on the rope, and is going in last in the chamber. As I said earlier, I would really love the Punk Jericho match for WrestleMania to go on with Jericho as the champion going in. I think it would really, turn the heat up going into WrestleMania, and the promos, pretty sure would be pretty awesome. Especially if Jericho somehow, I don't know how you could get a sleazy victory in the Chamber. I mean, obviously, Jericho's last Chamber win, where he won the title from The Undertaker, was because of Shawn Michaels' interference in the Chamber. So there is that way. I don't really feel that Jericho needs anything like that to win this Chamber, but it would definitely help if there was some way he can, turn the knife in Punk and get the title and get it in an insulting fashion. Right at the tail end of the show, we got this small bit with Kane stalking Eve, and he was telling her that basically he is completely off the fucking... He's a maniac, pretty much. He's saying even he fears what he can do himself. So, I did appreciate that this does make Kane look like the monster that we all love him to be on the show. I just found it to be extremely weird placement. I mean, some people are probably already tuned out as soon as Oh, yeah. Here's another little bit I enjoyed. Jericho, after winning the match, took the WWE Championship over his shoulder, despite the non-title match that it was, and sat Indian style in the ring like CM Punk. So pretty much already starting to rip off Punk steel. But that was pretty entertaining. But back to Kane. I thought it was a good performance. Eve was good being afraid. I'll give her credit there. And Kane was good being a monster. Like I said, I just feel that this was a really odd placement for it on the show. And maybe more surprising than anything else really on the show was no John Cena. I understand there's a lot of Cena haters out there, but from a business standpoint, I would like to keep John Cena on the show at all times. Unless, you need an injury angle or something. There's really no reason for him to not be on the show this week. So it makes me wonder what he was up to. Where was he if he wasn't on the show? Was he already over in Dubai? What was the deal there? Overall, a good episode of Raw. Avoid Great Khali, unless you want to see him eat an RKO, which, who doesn't want to see an RKO? But definitely go out of your way to see Undertaker's response video to Triple H. Possibly has to be right up there with any of the greatest WWE promo packages ever shot. I'm hoping there's more of these, because it was just fucking epic. This was an epic Undertaker video. And also, if you want to catch that nasty spill on R-Truth, check that out. When we come back, TNA Impact Review.
Now available on eBay. Click the link in the description.
Concentration wonders in